25-year-old Lojane Al-Haflal was arrested on December 1, 2015 in Saudi Arabia, while campaigning for the driving ban to be eased. She tried to drive into the kingdom from neighboring United Arab Emirates. Her friend, Maisa Al-Amodi, a Saudi journalist, was also detained when she arrived at the border to help Ms. Haflal. They were freed days after Britain's Prince Charles met Saudi Arabia's new monarch, Prince Salman. Women in Saudi Arabia cannot get a driver's license and cannot drive legally. Many are protesting against the driving ban and driving in defiance of Saudi Arabian rules. They want to be free from the discrimination for being a woman in a world that is mostly run by men. This issue is very important because if women are able to drive, then they will obtain more rights, because driving comes with a lot of independence and freedom. Gender inequality towards women is a very big issue in Saudi Arabia. Women don't have the same rights that men do. Saudi Arabian culture and Islamic laws have greatly shaped this human right violation against women. The Islamic law, also known as the Sharia law, is a part of an Islamic legal system in Saudi Arabia. The Sharia comes from the Quran, the sacred book of Islam. The Sharia also stems from the Prophet Muhammad's teachings and interpretations of those teachings. The Sharia law favors men and treats women as less, and it is still being used today. Because of what these laws say about women, they are not allowed to do many things that other women in other places are allowed to do. Women should be allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia. It would make it a lot easier to get to places like work. Women in Saudi always have to ask their male guardians to drive them places. Today, not only are women in Saudi Arabia prohibited from chauffeuring themselves around, they're also discouraged from traveling alone or using public transportation. Driver's licenses are issued only to men. Driving is a big key for women to become more effective members of society in Saudi Arabia. It would introduce a lot of new opportunities for women. It would also give them freedom to go wherever they want without having a man drive them around. Women are not children. They should be allowed to drive themselves. Women in Saudi Arabia are waiting for the day they will be able to get behind the wheel, but they have waited for a long time. The Saudi King's Council has made the recommendation to ease the ban on women driving in Saudi Arabia. Under the recommendations, only women over 30 would be allowed to drive, and they would need permission from a male relative. They would be allowed to drive only during a certain amount of time during the day. The conditions also require that a woman driver wear conservative dress and no makeup. Within cities, they can drive without a male relative in the car, but outside of cities, a male is required to be present. This recommendation has not been approved yet. There is even a video game that was made where women could drive, yet they still can't drive in the real world. The game is called Saudi Girls Revolution. It was created by Saudi Arabian Prince Fahad. This video game features 8 Saudi women dressed in abayas, blasting villains, destroying cyborgs, and driving cars. Prince Fahad says, if we can tell people stories about women driving, maybe it will actually happen. Although women have been waiting for a long time for the driving ban to be gone, they are getting closer and closer to what they want. Protests, video games, the recommendations made by the council, all of those things will lead to equal rights for women, and one day they will be able to get in a car and drive.